Alright, so I'm finishing up my last ladder stitch on the back of this leg. I just wanted to, just in case you weren't sure how to finish off that knot, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys, just in case you're watching and aren't familiar with that. Let's see if I can, I'm looking at the camera backwards. Alright, so I'm going to finish in the last ladder stitch. So I'm here, and then I'm going to go across and tuck under, and that's, like I said, why I like using the suture needle. I'll go in and out. So I'll go in on one side and then right back out on that same side. So you see how that's coming out there. Let me move down just a little bit so you can see there. And I'll go ahead and pull that in. Make sure I get all of that string nice and tight. And you can see it's starting that little zigzag. And there's still a little bit of material where that hole is still expanded. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do a few more of those stitches actually. So now I'll go across on the other side and do the in and out on that side. I can get through the material here. There we go. Oops. I always want to make sure that those ends are tucked in. I don't want any of those straight edges popping up. And then I'll go across and do the double on this side. Sorry, my hands are in the way. I want to make sure that I get those stitches and then pull that. And then I'm just going to do, since this is right up near the end here, I'm just going to go across one plain stitch here. There, pull that shut up at the top. Now I see that I have just a little bit, if I get in focus, just a little of that, oh, this is hard to do that backwards. There we go. A little bit of that raw edge sticking out right there. I'm going to go ahead and do just a few stitches back and forth across the fabric just to make sure that that doesn't run. And do one more of those just to make sure. Just since that's at a seam and I don't want that ripping. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do my little knot stitch where I'll go back under. I want to make sure that this loop is even. Okay, so I have my little loop, and then I'm going to go inside that loop 1, 2, and then pull that tight until that string tightens up. Because I want to make sure that I don't have any of those extra loops. And if I find that it got stuck and it didn't pull that tight, see how I still have that loop right here? I don't want to have this extra loop. So what I did, I just grabbed one piece of that string and pulled that down. Then I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time. Right up here at the edge. I'm going to go inside. Making sure that I'm not coming out of the same hole in this jersey material because it is a very delicate material. I want to make sure those loops are even whenever I pull. Through. So there you see the two little loops right here are even size. And then I'm just going to go inside both of them twice. So I tuck the needle in, one, and then I tuck the needle in one more time. Almost like you're tying the shoe. And then I pull that tight, and then I'm going to sew this stitch back into the material. And then somewhere down the material, I'm going to pop out and pull that stitch through so I don't have any thread sticking out near the top. And that's on her underside. That actually gets tucked underneath that skin, so you won't even see that there. Alright, so now that I shifted her weight all around, I'll go ahead and make sure that I have her body better, and her weight down there, because I won't be able to move around that bean bag until after I have her head attached. So yeah, so I think that all feels really good. So that's all closed up. Everything's all closed up. So next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and add in my joint stitches. And I'm going to do a joint stitch at each wrist. And it tells you in the little instructions that go with the doll body where to put each of the joint stitches as well. Okay, and whenever you do the joint stitch, you're going to put one at the end of each wrist, and like I said, I pinched the material almost so that the hand would be able to like wave like that. Okay, and what you're going to do, you'll pinch that area and you're just going to go in and out the material, both sides. You'll go you'll want your knots to be on the bottom, so I would start at the bottom of the wrist, and that's where you would end up tying that off. And you're just going to go and make just that normal little bridge. And you're doing that right in the center of the wrist, not the entire wrist. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and see if I can keep the camera steady. Whenever. I'm going to zoom in real quick and try and, like I said, stay on the camera. It's a little bit different when I have the camera facing me. It's like it's backwards in the viewing area, so it's actually kind of weird. Right. So the knot is going to be on the bottom, and you are going to still be able to see that knot, so you want to make sure that it's a nice clean looking knot. And for me, my you can see the distance between where I'm going in and going out of the baby. And I'm going to do that area. Whenever I come back through on the top, I'm going to look where I am on the bottom and aim to come back through that same area on the top there. suture needle is a little bit tricky to make sure that you're going in and out of around the same area. So you could switch needles for this, but like I said, I enjoy using the suture needle. I'll probably do that 3 times just to make sure that stitch is nice. And each time I come up, I want to make sure that, like I said, I'm coming up around the same area, but not in the exact same area, not the exact same hole, because with this jersey fabric, it kind of, it will almost like work a hole in it, you know. So that's about it. So if the camera will, there, focus on that little area. There you go. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie the bottom off. So I'm just going to go in only one part of the material here. My needle is dull. I'm going to have to sharpen it a little. So I'm going to go ahead in that material and do my finishing knot. Make sure that's pulled nice and tight, and I'll go ahead and sew that back down in. And I have a little bit of thread left. I'd probably be able to do one more with that amount. But anyway, so you can see here, if I can get the focus there. Let me zoom out just a little bit. It's easier to see for me. You can see that there. Now the wrist is floppy. And bends down, and there's the underside too, so you will be able to see the knots just a little bit, but that's why you get that matching thread, and it's not that bad. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other wrist area, and then I'm going to put one above each one of the elbows, and then one just right above that bending knee, and then I'll be right back. I'm going to zoom out first. Here we go.